President Vladimir Zelensky was going on his national tour asking for more money for his war effort. He found himself in the Canadian Parliament, and then something happened.
Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War.
What an ovation. That's an emotional moment and exciting, really got to be happy for this 98-year-old war hero from World War II who fought the Russians in the... Wait a minute. World War II fighting the Russians in Eastern Europe. There was only one group of soldiers fighting the Russians in Eastern Europe in World War II. This guy's a Nazi, but not just any Nazi. He was actually an elite officer with the SS. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad. Even Justin Trudeau, the prime minister, when he found out the truth about this guy, he was a Nazi, this guy. Justin Trudeau sort of apologized, but then guess who he blamed for all of this? Russia.
Obviously, it's extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and, by extension, to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine, as we did last week with announcing further measures to stand with Ukraine in Russia's illegal war against it.
Yeah, deeply embarrassing. He's right about that part, but why are you blaming Russian disinformation for this and Russian propaganda? This was you. They didn't put you in there. Did Vladimir Putin force you to stand in the parliament with Zelensky and honor this Nazi? And look at everybody standing and cheering for this guy. How is this Russian propaganda? I mean, unless you're sorry that you gave Russia a great propaganda weapon. That's really what happened here. Yeah, listen, I don't expect all of these Canadian members of parliament to know their history, although there should have been a little bit of a red flag when you found out this guy fought the Russians in World War II. But what really makes this ironic is that just a year ago, these Canadian parliament members were finding Nazis everywhere. You remember the convoy of truckers who were fighting against the national vaccine mandates? You know, because they're truck drivers. They're literally alone in the cab of a truck every day of their lives for 8 to 10 hours straight. They drove their convoy of trucks into the nation's capital there in Ottawa, and they blocked streets, and they were protesting. Apparently, on social media posts at the time celebrating these truckers and their activism, a lot of fans would put honk honk on their Facebook page or on their Twitter page. They would celebrate them and show solidarity by saying honk honk, right? Because it's a truck. Honk honk. Apparently, that makes you a Nazi.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media?
That's right. That was one of those members of parliament finding Heil Hitler in a honk honk message, but she cheered the actual Nazi standing right in front of her earlier this week. Well, it's all right. Don't be worried about the Nazi-loving Canadians. Now, they've figured out how to solve this problem. Take a look at this member of parliament putting forth a motion that will resolve the entire embarrassing episode.
I would like to ask for unanimous consent to adopt the following motion. That notwithstanding any standing order, special order, or usual practice of the House, the recognition made by the Speaker of the House of an individual present in the galleries during the joint address to Parliament by His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky be struck from the appendix of the House of Commons debates of Thursday, September 21st, 2023, and from any House multimedia recording. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's right. They just want to delete everything from the record, from multimedia too. Get rid of all those videos, take them down off the internet, and expunge the record of this embarrassing, sad display. That'll do it. That'll fix the problem. It's actually kind of a Nazi-like move, isn't it? You know, like how Stalin would erase people who were now enemies of the state and Hitler would just get rid of people. And delete their photographs from official records. You can't erase history. The people who are erasing history are doomed to repeat it. Those were the warnings we would always hear, not wanting to repeat some horrible event in history like the Third Reich. Well, we won't forget. You can't delete it from our memories. We know exactly what happened. And anytime you want to deny it, Prime Minister Trudeau and the rest of you up there in Canada will remind you.